Yeah. Good morning, folks. How are you guys this morning? Let me just check our stream, make sure that's going. Everything says it's good. That looks good. All right, cool. Let me get my screen sharing started over here as well. And let me get my chat window open. What's up, Navy Plum? What's up, Strafe? How are you guys? Good to see ya. Good to hear from you. Well, I guess see your avatars. uh, Sorry, let me get a sip of water here. All right. So, let's pull up. Yes, I don't know. I think 007 might be out on as far as the Tuesday live streams go for the at least for the foreseeable future. I think he's got like a recurring meeting that happens Tuesday mornings now that he's got to be a part of. So, um, we will certainly miss him and do our best to make do without him. Going to take a look at sort of where the market's at in general, discuss that a little bit. Also, go back, circle back to some of our trade plans we've done here recently, both the member selected tickers that I did for you guys over the weekend, as well as checking out uh, the last trade plans we did on the podcast last Thursday. Um, with that, let me also pull up one more thing actually. I know we've got, I think, Jolt today. Yeah, at 10 o'clock, so 30 minutes after. Yeah, soundboard we'll have to do for now. I agree. Just just so we're not totally without him. All right, so let's see. Yeah, Jolt's at 10 a.m. this morning. And then we have a bunch of inflation data coming out Thursday. Yesterday, silly, crazy, low volume. Not much to work with there yesterday as far as SPY was concerned. I mean, SPY playing levels played out, I think, pretty well. Um, I did have a couple of confluences with this R1 traditional pivot up here in PT1, but we never got to that. This was probably the closest thing I saw to any kind of a attempt to confirm a break to the upside. Yeah, chop fest, exactly. It was ugly. Um, One thing I'll kind of mention, because I saw somebody, I think probably a newer member, because I didn't recognize the name, asking about, did we get a confirmation here? Whenever I see something like this, I think I've said it before. Generally speaking, I just kind of sit and watch the first 15 minutes. Whenever I see something like this where we try to push above and we get a rejection kind of very close to the entry level for calls, that sometimes I may be setting it slightly too aggressive. Um, I kind of would use that as kind of my barometer of, okay, well, are we actually breaking above this? I mean, I am seeing a break here. Um, and it looks like it might have kind of possibly confirmed, but I don't think I was watching SPY in real time at that point. I was actually a little bit more focused on Apple because we did get an entry on that from the trade plan that I did over the weekend. And I took a kind of a very small trade that was red for most of the day and then came back and I closed for small profits at the end of the day. Long story short, I wasn't watching this in real time, so I forget, or I didn't see, I should say, is probably the right way to say that, whether or not this even started to look like a confirmed break. Um, but again, this barely pushed higher than the candle that closed just before it, and it didn't really beat this wick that we hit here in the first 15 minutes of trading. So, if you see something like that, kind of use this as sort of better confirmation point. Anyway, somebody asked about it yesterday, and I just thought I would use this live stream to kind of talk about, again, being a little bit more patient. I know I put out a video on here's how you use the 5 minute chart for confirmation, but that's a very sort of like in perfect conditions sort of approach to things, and there are a number of different ways or things that I look for to ultimately confirm a break. You kind of have to adjust what you're considering confirmation based on how the day is playing out, and again, seeing something like that early in the day I would have been waiting for that to break again. And I did say this in the chat. I didn't see this as any kind of confirmation to take calls yet. So we did get a break below to the downside though. I talk about this quite frequently. We got this break below, continue to consolidate up against the put entry level until the 16 WMA caught up with us, and then once we hit the 16 WMA, we got pretty close. I'd say close enough to be taking some profit there at PT1, and then we got I think a cleaner test there. PT1 was pretty much, I think, low a day yesterday, within a few pennies. Let's see, this hit, what was the low of this? 440.86, we were 2 cents off, so not too shabby. And this, I noticed this with TradingView, that for some reason TradingView had a low a day, or the day's range hitting as low as 439.97, and really that wasn't even the pre-market low, or I don't know how this number got manifested, but a little bit weird there. So anyway, we pretty much had low of the day wired with that first price target, and high of the day, pretty much wired. Lots of rejection off that call entry. So anyway, tough day to trade SPY for sure, but regardless of that, even with the low volume, I think the levels were very effective, and again, wanted to just kind of make mention of waiting for better confirmation, especially if you see some wick reaction just above our call or put entry, just below our put entry. If you start to see a confirmed break, but you still haven't beaten that sort of move where obviously sellers stepped in that scenario, I'd still be waiting. So anyway, with that being said, let's take a look at the member selected tickers that I did over the weekend. Really not a lot to write home about on any of these, I think, with the exception of Apple. And I know this is my Tesla chart with everything on it. I posted the recap chart just so it was easier to see and follow over the weekend. But yeah, anyway, Tesla's still kind of in the no trade zone, in my opinion. I'd still be waiting for a break below 233.81 to play downside here. And then, upside, I think we opened over the call entry target, but again, within the first 15 minutes of the day, we were back below it. So again, don't jump in right away. Wait for some kind of back test. Make sure you're getting some confirmation. And again, be very careful with any kind of entries first 15 minutes of the day. I personally just don't touch anything. I watch for at least for that long, if not longer. Palantir was another one that we looked at over the weekend, or that was on the member selected tickers. Nothing to write home about here. This was starting to look good. As we were breaking over these moving averages, I was thinking about maybe trying to get an early entry on this, but glad I didn't, because nothing much happened yesterday. It was a big dud. And then Apple, like I said, did give us a couple of opportunities to get in on this one. Let me pull up the 5-minute chart. Actually, we're on the 15 there for a second. So we came back tested. This looked like we were back testing the call entry. We were after the first 15 minutes of the day. Did have the 16 WMA overhead, but I did like bigger picture, simple moving averages below, adding a confluence of support, and they did ultimately help keep me in the trade yesterday. But yeah, took an entry on what looked like a good back test there, although I was a little bit all over the place, so I didn't alert it. In a way, I'm glad I didn't, because it was just sort of an ugly trade. Because of just the low volume across the market. Did pull back down, but never broke below the stop loss level there at 178.15. Ultimately, I was able to catch an exit here, very fortunately, actually, because it did wind up pulling back quite a bit. So yeah, once I kind of got up there, I was like, okay, that's good enough to get out and take what little profit there was. I think it was like 10 or 15% or something like that. So I decided I didn't want to swing anything, even though the plan was still valid. I was like, that's fine. This is a low volume day, and the more I thought about it, I was like, this could still be a pretty choppy week. So anyway, Apple, I'd still be looking for maybe another potential back test if we see a little bit of a pullback. If we get another one down to this 179.25 level, as you can see, nice confluence there with 333 SMA here on the 15-minute. It does have the bullish flag here on Neptune, the 15 minutes. So yeah, some confluences there around that 179.25 if we get a back test. So keep Apple on watch. It looked to me like it actually was performing pretty well compared to how SPY was playing out, and lately it's kind of Apple's been not performing as well as SPY, so could be kind of coming back into favor, showing some relative strength there. All right, so let's take a look. What did we look at last week? Now and Carvana? No, that was last Tuesday, wasn't it? We did Broadcom. That was the only one we got to. I think we got to some deeper discussions though on last Thursday. So while I'm recapping this, as you all know, I remember this one. Yeah, we got like all three price targets same day on this one. That was I forget who asked for Broadcom, but good call or good request there. And speaking of requests, start hitting me with some ticker requests. Let's work on some trade plans as we go into today and this week. Again, kind of what I was just mentioning a little bit ago, though. I would proceed with caution, keep your trades fairly small, and make sure you're buying extra time this week if you do decide to take something, because, again, could continue to see low volume, choppy, messy conditions until probably after that inflation data comes out pre-market Thursday. So keep your eye on that. What's up, Chris? Good morning to you as well, my friend. Good to have you here. So hit me with those ticker requests. I'm going to talk about we were waiting on you, man. The party just started. Pinduoduo and Amazon. Yeah, actually, Amazon was one that I was interested in. I was reading an article about Amazon this morning that kind of had me intrigued, and I was like, maybe I should chart Amazon, come up with a trade plan for that. I was slightly red on the day yesterday. SoFi, sure, we'll try to get to all three of those if I can go really fast. All right, so just wanted to talk about our Broadcom trade plan from last Thursday's podcast. I'm just going to hide these real quick so we can look at the candles. So this was a nice break below. You would have definitely been pushing it being in that first 15-minute period. So I personally didn't take this, but we did get our close below, back test and rejection of our put entry level. Then 1, 2, 3 price targets. In fact, our third price target was probably ideal profit taking point, even though it did dip a little bit lower as far as intraday, because this was a lot of theta burn through there. So probably pretty close to the same price that you would get down in this level unless you had a lot of time on those contracts. And since then, it looks like Broadcom is sort of continuing to struggle to reclaim that third price target from our plan that we did last Thursday. It keeps rejecting and kind of consolidating down here. So could be, though. Could be an inverse head and shoulder setup on this, though, which might be interesting if anybody wants to keep this on watch. Probably looks something like this. What I'm looking at here, just so you guys can see it in case you don't already, or if you're not totally familiar with what an inverse head and shoulders is. That looks like a shoulder. It's like the head. And this could be a shoulder. Could be a little bit more narrow like that, but it seems to be testing this downtrend. We've got 3 touches on it and trying to open above, so Broadcom could see a little bit of a recovery if it can reclaim this 860.32 level. So keep that on watch. You've got the rest of the levels here on the chart. I'll just drop this and so you guys can have it to refer back to. All right. But yeah, nice trend line there on the 15-minute. If they can break that, which looks like it's kind of maybe already done. But yeah, just keep an eye on it. Be careful entering too close, and if it moves super fast, don't chase. Would be my recommendation. All right, so that's some trade plan recaps, kind of market in general. Again, think we're going to probably just see choppiness until closer to Thursday. One thing I am noticing, though, clean rejection, sort of a rounded top rejection near the 200 SMA here, but a clean one, or 200, well, the 200 SMA, but a 2-hour chart. Much cleaner rejection here on ES, here in the wee hours of this morning. Things on Neptune looking overall bearish, even though we're seeing some conflict or some disagreement between a couple of my indicators between sort of the Neptune trading system and this Neptune trend ribbon. And we are trying to print a long signal, but again, bearish SMAs, bearish flag, I kind of tend to ignore these more reactive notifications in those types of scenarios. So, yeah, things are looking bearish to choppy as far as a potential rejection and pullback from here as we head toward Thursday. All right, so let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon should probably be a pretty quick one, because I think I've already got pretty good levels on it. Might need to add some. It's been a little while. Let's see. When was the last time we did an Amazon trade plan? Back here, this was after earnings, early August time frame. All right, let's take a look, just see what kind of levels I might want to add or could be missing. I'm kind of seeing something around where the price is sitting currently. Yeah, probably right here. See if that's a factor in our trade plan or not, but anything else? Let's see. Let's zoom this out a little bit. All right. Although I think, yeah, no, never mind. I was gonna say, I thought that was close to all-time highs on Amazon, but wasn't sure. It turns out it's not. I think we got something right here. Let's see if that's about where I was looking at over here. Yeah, pretty close. Okay. Anything else that looks sort of near-term levels that we might need to pay attention to? That level's a little bit interesting. Let's see if we get some confirmation on this. Nothing there. There we go. That's what I was looking for. That kind of reaction right there. Okay. Yeah, I like that level. That's probably one to keep on watch as well. Anything else? Yeah, I think this is down here. It's probably right about. Probably nitpicking this a little bit, but I'm right about there. Again, we'll see if that's. We decide that's going to be much of a factor for our trade plan, but. All right. So Amazon below what was our put entry level from the last trade plan we did on it. Let's see what else. Could be trend line here. Let's anything on the underside. Let's see. It's weird right below, but I think. Let's see. Not sure if this is gonna pan out, so it's not there. Could be like this. No, definitely not that. Okay, never mind. Thought we had maybe a trend line forming that looked like it was gonna tap. Hang on, we got this here. Yeah, I think I'm at this point I'm forcing it. I'm not seeing really a clear trend line down there. Just looked like there could be something happening, but nothing that I would say is all that convincing. This is definitely not confirmed yet, but you could potentially see this could become a little bit of a falling wedge pattern, but it's quite drawn out. So we'll see. This is again not yet confirmed, so don't pay too close attention, I guess is what I'm trying to say, to that particular trend line there underneath. All right, so how do we use this to our advantage for a trade plan? There's just one more level there. Right around that. Yeah, it's just an indecisive little area. Okay. Let's turn on our indicators. Yeah, that's kind of all adding up. So I think we've got a lot of selling pressure, plenty of potential for rejections until we break back over this 135.93 level. And honestly, especially given this breakdown and back test, I'd like to give it, I'd want to have a little bit more confirmation. So I'd say over 136.75, which was our put entry level, is really where I'd be looking, or what I'd be waiting for to take calls. Over that level, definitely wouldn't ignore this. This is a little bit of a tight trade plan, but probably the right kind of trade plan to have in place given the choppy market conditions, at least that we're facing for the near future. But there's also good profit in these moves, and risk reward is, I think, where it needs to be based on how I'm setting this up. Now my question is to myself, this actually looks like the more interesting level to me. Here. I think what we've got is this our second price target. Oops. Third price target. I think, well, there is a gap here. Yeah, I'd pay attention to that right there. I don't think. Let's see, I want to see if this shoots up under that. Now that gap is closed. Take that back. I wasn't 100% sure. I still kind of like that as a third price target, though, to be perfectly honest. So, let's use it. So this is what our upside trade plan is going to look like. Let's go back to the hourly chart. What is Byron posted here? Interesting. Level for all. Never seen a chart set up like that. I kind of can read it, but I'm not 100% sure what I'm looking at there. Are there for levels for all expiration dates? Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a minute to digest that one before I make any commentary on it. All right, so we're looking for a break above this guy. That's what our upside trade plan looks like. Long position. To the downside, potential plan for Amazon. Oops. Well, you know what? thing of the past. All right. All right. Yeah. I want to see this level break for sure. This looks like a great stop loss level for a downside trade plan based on, whoops. I'm just looking, if we get down below this, I think we're going to open up room to the downside, but all the rejections we get, and then if we pop back above, clearly that can flip to support. So good time to not be in puts if that gets reclaimed as support. Definitely like that first price target where it's at. Could also become a breakdown out of this, although again that trend line's not confirmed. So we got a second price target and then PT3 down here at this hourly level. We seem to be catching some big bounces. All right, so here's the Amazon trade plans. I think also a good thing to give this a little bit of a wide berth because, again, it could just be choppy. So we don't want to get sucked into anything prematurely until it's actually ready to make a move. Otherwise, just theta decay all day. Let's get this guy here so we match up. So here's your Amazon trade plan. And so on Amazon, what we're looking for here is a break over 136.75 to play targets at 137.91, 139.25, and 140.80 with the stop loss average down at 135.93. To the downside, we want to break a 130.16 to play it to the downside with targets at 128.36, 127.29, and 125.85 with the stop loss average down at 131.33. All right. Pin Duo for my man Chris. I don't know if I've got levels on Pin Duo yet. Well, looks like I had some. Oh, I guess I did a trade plan on it at some point. By the looks of it. Although I do not know how old or accurate these levels are. Well, this weekly level seems to be working nicely. Okay, let's see. Definitely not going to start this from scratch because it looks like there was some thought put into what I was doing whenever I drew these. It's been a long time since I've looked at this ticker. Highly doubt these are still gaps. I'm pretty sure those have filled at this point. So let's see, I think we got some levels we need to throw on this chart because, like I said, it's been quite a while since I've looked at Pin Duo. Is this? Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. But it's a Chinese stock, I think, isn't it? It's very gappy all over the place, like a Chinese ticker would. They just had earnings today. They did. I guess was that this move right here. It's weird. I mean, TradingView is not the best at tracking earnings dates, so just because I don't see the little earnings symbol on there doesn't really mean anything. Is it a surprise earnings report? Like, did they not have it pre-scheduled? Anyway, I don't know. Well, so be a little bit careful with this. Since earnings were just reported this morning, generally speaking. Yeah, they've got a little bit of a pump here this morning. Generally speaking, I tend to personally abide by the 3-day rule, which is, you know, if something's just reported earnings, don't touch it for at least 3 days. Let the, you know, let things settle, let it find some sort of rebalance itself a little bit, I guess is what I should say. Right there. So just be a little bit. Okay, yeah, let's. All right. We'll bounce this one to Thursday then. Sounds good. I like that plan, Chris. Good call. All right, so let's take a look at SoFi. And this is one I do have some pretty good levels on already. So let's see where we're at, and if I need to add any smaller time frame levels. This is an interesting spot right here. Let's start time frame. Yeah, I think that was more right there. In that neck of the woods. Let's see. Just a nudge higher. Yeah, like right there. And yeah, let's see. So let's see if that catches these candles where I think it's going to. Yeah, pretty close. Okay. Oh yeah, for sure. All right, cool. I like that. Let's see. Anything down here I want to be aware of? Yeah, that's definitely a level we're gonna want to watch. All right, I think we're probably pretty good on levels then. But do we have something right in the middle here? Yeah. Right in here. All right, so let's see how we want to approach this. Let's take a look where indicators are sitting. Plenty of room here on the 4-hour chart, hourly. Flipping things bullish, but 200 SMA is pushing us down. Yes, I did, but I'll circle back to it for you. Talk about it again if you missed it. I don't want to wait too long on the entry on this. Actually, I think, was that you, Bombaclot, that was asking yesterday about confirmed entry from the spy plan? Like around, yes, okay. So I talked about this. I'm glad that you showed up. Actually, I couldn't remember who it was that asked because I think you're relatively new, or at least your name seems newer to me. Yeah, so what I explained, and then I'll go back to our SoFi plan, and then I'll circle back to Tesla real quick, but just before I forget to cover this. So again, 5-minute confirmation video is pretty good as a general guide. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into finding confirmation, in my opinion. The one thing that I was watching yesterday where I said, yeah, that doesn't really look like a good confirmation to me, is in the first 15 minutes, I personally like to sort of watch overall. And so in the first 15 minutes of trading here on the 935 5-minute candle, we got this attempt to push and break above, and then this big rejection wick down, right? So you'll notice that these candles here, even though we're finally getting some closes above and it looks like we're getting some confirmation there, haven't really exceeded where we got that selling pressure that showed up and really pushed things down pretty quickly. So in those types of scenarios, especially if we sort of kind of nudge things just a little bit in that first 15 minutes of trading, and we get a big sell-off or a big rejection like that, I'd be looking for more of like, this is the new, okay, I want to see us kind of at least get a candle close above this to really consider it confirmation for calls. So that's why I hadn't taken calls yet, and certainly how you could avoid getting essentially bull trapped on those types of moves. So glad you showed up, and glad I remembered to circle back to that. So hopefully that helps you as you continue to use the SPY plan to your advantage. Other than that, levels played out pretty great yesterday, I think. Well, as good as they could with the volume we had, I should say. That's probably the fairer statement. All right, so I think on SoFi, we could see, because there's a little bit of an imbalance fair value gap, I think we could see if it can break back over this 200 SMA. Test up here at 864. Over that, I definitely like this as our next price target. Could also wind up having a confluence with the 333 as resistance there. But over that, we got another imbalance that I think could take us all the way up to 919, which was our put entry level, it looks like, from a previous trade plan. Yeah, that we did back in June. That got all of our, in fact, bounced right off of our final price target from that plan. So, yay us. All right. That would be my third price target up there. 15 to the downside. I think I'll break a 795 because this is all. Just check this on a smaller time frame real quick. Let's see this. Where's that? Right here. I just want to see what these candles did here. Yeah, so we got a little bit of a pre-market push below, but reclaimed right after open. I think a break of 795 opens up downside to what was our final price target from that old trade plan from June at 768, and I would certainly scale out heavy there because, as we just saw, we can bounce hard near that level. In fact, I'd take profit, anywhere within ramming that's bounced, 3 cents higher. That's close enough, right? Don't wait for those last few pennies. They're not going to help your options contracts that much. Make sure that once you're within range, you're taking profits as you approach the target. Makes getting fills much easier, makes taking profit much easier. And below that, I mean, honestly, just how the candles have played out, the price actions played out, I really like these next two levels to the downside for our downside targets. And I think we share a stop loss with the call trade plan. Well, Sorry, I'm just debating this stop loss level. Yeah, I still say, yeah, I would use this for going either direction, actually. Oh, did I just nudge that? Thought I moved my line accidentally. Okay, so what I'd be looking for, here's what our trade plans look like, I should say. To the downside. This. Certainly one you could also do with shares versus options contracts, because it's, you can load up on, well, depending on the size of your account, you can load up a lot of shares and play this with shares versus options and not have to deal with theta. But anyway, here is our SoFi trade plan. Let me put that in the chat. Cover this, then I'll talk about Tesla real quickly, and I think that will call it a Tuesday after that. So on SoFi, what we're looking for is a break over 832 with targets at 864, 879, and 919, with a stop loss average down at $8.10. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 795 to play targets at 768, scale out heavy there, with targets at below that at 751 and 728, with a shared stop loss at $8.10. So Tesla, just real quick for Umbaclot. So you heard me mention a moment ago, first 15 minutes of the trading day, be very careful jumping into entries within the first 15 minutes. If you do, keep it very small, especially when we're kind of opening way above our target for entry. At the very least, I'd be waiting for some kind of a back test, and even then, I'd want to see like a back test and some sort of a really confirmed bounce with some follow through. We didn't get that very much with Tesla, although probably did start to look like a bounce actually. So again, kind of like why I like to wait the first 15 minutes out, because this probably did look like a pretty good back test and started to bounce as this wick formed moving up there, because this candle opened here, so we kind of opened above our call entry, came back and back tested, probably looked like we were bouncing, and yeah, got rejected pretty hard. Also up in this supply zone here. I know that I don't generally share that chart just because it's a lot to look at. So your Tesla trade plan chart, let's look at that just so we can look at it through the lens of how I actually posted it. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, man. Yeah, so good rule to adopt for the future moving forward. Be very, very careful in those first 15 minutes, especially for opening way up here. You don't want to chase an entry. We're also already at PT1 at that point, so and finding resistance there, so definitely a high probability of some kind of a rejection pullback, also to be considered there. But yeah, waiting out the first 15 minutes is honestly probably the healthiest thing you can do, because as you can see, we never really held that call entry level, although there was probably a little bit of a fake bounce, and hopefully you didn't jump in right at open. That's absolutely the worst thing you can do in my personal opinion, especially when you're up here rejecting PT1. That's you want to wait for some kind of a back test, right? And so if you had waited for the back test, we came down here, but again, within the first 15 minutes. So again, me personally, I'm just not touching anything at that point. Did break below the stop loss level, so hopefully you've already stopped out, and it was a small loss, I hope. But yeah, just be careful in those first 15 minutes. Again, especially once we've kind of already broken above, hit a price target, got our pullback. It's pulled back quite a bit. However, did catch this confluence down here, at least on the 5-minute 333 SMA. Stop loss average down level seems to, well, at least was grinding up from there. Neptune's still showing overall bearish on it, and now we're seeing bearish crossover to the downside. So I think Tesla's just back in the wait and see zone. We do have a pivot that's formed here today from yesterday's price action, pretty near our put entry levels, so that's an interesting confluence to keep on watch. Could find bounces there, and if it breaks below, I think we'll definitely probably see price target 1 from how things look currently. So anyway, that's sort of a recap of the Tesla trade plan that I did on the member selected tickers. And again, said it a number of times this morning, be very careful in the first 15 minutes. Some people wait first 30, some people wait the first hour out. It's really kind of up to your personal preference. There are some people who are very good at catching those entries right at open. Alexander is probably, I think, one of the ones I see do that the most with a pretty high success rate. I think Wags has also had some really good trades right at open as well recently. But yeah, first downside target PT1 is 230.65 if we get a break below 233.81. So when I set these charts up, let me hide these pivots at least so it becomes less confusing. We kind of have a reward risk zone. So this is showing our trade plan. This is our risk zone with our entry being here. If we drop below this, we stop out. So that becomes our risk area based on the underlying asset. And then these dashed lines are your price targets: 1, 2, 3, 243, 245, 248. The stop loss down here. Entry to the downsides below 233.81. price target 1, price target 2, price target 3, stop loss there. So try to set all my charts up and my trade plans up exactly like that. So, you know, even if you don't have me here explaining it to you, you could just look at the chart and know exactly sort of what I'm indicating or trying to show on the chart. Also added a couple of extra price targets on this particular plan because Tesla likes to make big moves. I mean, ultimately, 3 price targets we probably should be out, but I threw a couple more levels on this one just so you can keep them on watch. So with that, we're getting pretty close to market open. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I will be back Thursday at 8:30 a.m. hopefully with our good friend 007 joining me. So with that, since 007 is not here to give it to us live and in person, that's right, plan your trades and trade your plans. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. I will see you in the chat. Be careful. This week, like I said, we could continue to see choppy, weird, volatile, low volume conditions until we get that inflation data Thursday. So keep your heads on a swivel and go out there, get some green if you see some opportunities to do that. Have a great one. See you guys Thursday. Thanks everybody for joining me. Thanks Chris. Thanks Strife. Thanks everybody. All right. Talk to you soon.